time, would you please stand for the singing of the national anthem?
Take the cap off.
Where's the flag? Oh, there it is.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Yep, there's Shane right there. Well, she was taking your tickets. Oh, she might be in there. Is that her right there?
Tickets when I came in.
Yeah. Does she know who you are?
You said hi. I said hi to her. I'm sure she might say hi to everybody.
Shane introduced you, all right?
Oh, yeah, I met her probably 5-10 times.
He's got a bad habit of not introducing people. I figured you probably
I
did.
congratulated on war tonight. And all that stuff, too. More girls than boys.
It's kind of class I wish I was in. 10 girls for every guy.
Michelle, she ain't no bum either. She got a lot of war.
Yeah.
There's more guys. Must be alphabetical order or something.
No. The honor students went first. Yeah, see them wearing them blue things around.
Oh, look, he's got a red one walking there. That's an honor.
That's true. Yeah, you're right, they didn't.
They started at the back and going to the front.
Yeah, but Shane was second. He was K, so then. I don't think that was.
Someone go paying attention to the pictures.
Nah, I told Shane, don't fall down the stairs.
You think she and I know where school is? She'd be getting hurt.
She's embarrassed.
Maybe she just slipped
Hey. I'm gonna spoil the scene.
Yeah. Seen so many kids in,
Huh?
how many kids in this class?
I don't know. We're saying like about 200 maybe. Maybe not even that.
No, not even close.
There's a program right there. About 150 or something.
What?
How many kids in the
About 180, I'm guessing.
How many?
About 180, because there's 54 in this column, so that's 108. I'd say about 180. These kids are so big. Some of them are so tiny. They look like trouble, those four.
Do you remember your graduation?
Huh?
Do you remember your graduation? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I remember this part of it. That's about it.
This at all.
Yeah.
At all. I don't remember a thing.
We didn't come out there like this. We all stayed behind the curtain. They called us out one at a time. You
Yeah.
came up and they gave
Just
you your
walked
diploma
across
and they
the
shook your
stage.
hand. You walked across the stage and
Right.
ran out.
That's
the
all
other
it
side.
was, yeah.
I don't remember that.
I like this better.
Yeah, you get to see them more.
Everybody. Don't ask me. Ask me, 'cause I don't know. Graduation.
That's it right there. Last two.
At Fitzgerald High School. I'm Lori Fournier, and I have the privilege of being the principal here at the high school. On the stage this evening, there are members of our Board of Education. Members of the board, would you please stand to be recognized as I introduce you? Mr. Jack Kennedy, President. Mr. Donald Brewer, Vice President. Mr. Hillary Catella, Secretary.
He's a nice guy.
Mr. Thomas
he lives by
Ozera,
me.
Treasurer.
Yeah, I know him. Debbie Catella, actually.
Mrs. Cheryl Marino, Trustee. Mr. Michael Potyug, Trustee. And Mrs. Judy Fergal, Trustee. We are also joined this evening by our Superintendent of Schools, Mrs. Jeanette Brill. I would also like to recognize our commencement speaker, Mr. Michael Kapolka. Mr. Kapolka was chosen by the class to share his perspectives and insights this evening. You may all have a seat. Although Tiffany did a fine job addressing all of you this evening, I'd also like to reinforce that we believe graduation is a very dignified affair, and that we ask that you limit your recognition and enthusiasm throughout the evening with an applause only. At this time, I'm very pleased and honored to call on the senior with the highest grade point average in this year's class, and that would be Valeru Octave-Pop.
Good evening. Commendable work in the classroom, service to the community, leadership, athletics, and involvement in many organizations are just a few of the ways that many members of the class of 2005 have brought honor to their school, their families, and themselves. In return, various organizations of the school have chosen to recognize some of their achievements through scholarships to help them take the next step in furthering their education. We would also like to recognize the recipients by having them stand as I call their name. Please hold your applause until the end. Administrator Scholarship, Christy Ann Davidson. Asian Club Scholarship, Terry J. Lim. Pa Ku Lor. Mai Shua Tao. Bao Ku Yang. Donald Durant Memorial Scholarship, Tiffany Ann Chuning. Drama Scholarship, Victoria Rose Wilney. Kenneth Howard Osberlenki. Student Council Scholarship, Danielle Elise Smith, Tiffany Ann Chuning, and Ricky Patel. Shane Griffin Memorial Scholarship, Ricky Patel. Fitzgerald Athletic Association Scholarship, Danielle Elise Smith, Joshua Allen Sanders, Tiffany Ann Chuning, Ricky Patel. Marissa Margaret Espolita, Leah Grace George, and Matthew Robert Giles. Fitzgerald Band Boosters Scholarship, Kelly Therese Hermans, Shane Ross Koskowski. Jerry Lucia Scholarship, Ashley Marie Fulgenti, and Shane Ross Koskowski. Mary Hood Memorial Scholarship, Danielle Elise Smith. Jessica Nagel Memorial Scholarship, Matthew Allen Howard. National Honor Society, Erica Lynn Pennebaker. Taryn J. Lim. Ashley Marie Fulgenti. Snyder Webster Draft Scholarship, Danielle Elise Smith, Tiffany Ann Chuning, Ricky Patel, Marissa Margaret Espolita. Teachers Memorial Scholarship, Victoria Rose Wilmy. And finally, the Frank Van Poppelen Memorial Scholarship, Sonia Nawaz, Francis Ianjewski. On behalf of our recipients, we would like to thank the sponsors. Thank you, seniors, and please be seated.
Yeah, okay.
It is now my pleasure to present to you our superintendent, Mrs. Jeanette Brill.
It is an honor to be here this evening and share this special occasion, your graduation. In the audience, we have parents who have worked for years to look at ways to make their children happy. Today, the graduates have now made their parents happy, and I commend you for that. Especially in today's world, which puts a great burden on your lives. Each of you have different talents, different dreams, and different destinations. Yet you have the power to make a new tomorrow. While your success may be measured by how high you climb, your significance will be measured by how many people you help along the way. As you continue your journey, I challenge you to be a leader along the path you choose. Remember, a true leader has the confidence to stand alone, the courage to make tough decisions, and the compassion to listen to others. You do not set out to be a leader, but become one by the quality of your actions and the integrity of your intent. Graduates, as you leave the ceremony on the path to your future, you have become part of a great tradition, and that's Fitzgerald. Buildings and people change, but the tradition of excellence will remain our goal as long as Fitzgerald exists. Remember all who have played a part in your achievement, your parents, grandparents, teachers, students, and this community. You have the power to change society for the good with goodness, kindness, and intelligent decision-making. I and the Fitzgerald Board of Education are very proud of you, and we share in your happiness. We wish you good luck in all you do. At this time, I would like to introduce Kyle Rogers, who will introduce your keynote speaker for tonight. Thank you.
I thought I had to return mine.
We were supposed to.
What?
Cap and gown.
I don't know return that.
I got mine still. I've been used for Halloween and stuff many times.
Leadership is lifting a person's vision to higher heights, the raising of a person's performance to a higher standard. This quote by famous writer and business analysis Peter Drucker best describes the man in which I have the honor and pleasure of introducing to you all this evening. Every year, the graduating class honors an influential and inspirational member of the Fitzgerald community by asking him or her to give our class words of wisdom at our graduation ceremony and preparing us for our next steps toward adulthood. This year, our senior class council has spent a lot of time and thought into deciding who this year's nominee will be. We as a senior council created a list of potential graduation speakers and very carefully narrowed it down to one. This person is always chosen on the grounds of who has had the biggest influence on the entire class, and this year is no exception. Mr. Kapolka has been chosen as our graduation speaker because of his involvement not only in the classroom, but in many extracurricular activities as well. This Fitzgerald alum and head of the Fitzgerald English department is a tremendously busy, loyal, and dedicated man in our community. Along with being a loving husband and father, he has aided the Fitzgerald community by coaching the football, basketball, and track programs. This year, we have had the honor of him teaching College English 12, which contains the majority of this year's graduating class. Throughout this year's past Winter Spirit Week, the student body elected Mr. Kapolka as Mr. Fitz, an honor that recognizes the most popular male teacher. On top of teaching and coaching, Mr. Kapolka is an avid contributor to all forms of student fundraising activities.
Finally, our honored guest this evening, the class of 2005. That's it. Given your entire educational existence since kindergarten up to this point, you're on the pinnacle of leaving the high school. That's as much enthusiasm as you can possibly muster up for these people that have driven probably hundreds of miles to be here this evening. Let's try this again. I'm going to reintroduce you, and hopefully you can raise the expectation a little bit and make a little more noise. Okay, so here we go. And finally, our honored guest this evening, the class of 2005. Enthusiasm that we need to keep this celebration at. And let's not lose sight of the fact that this is definitely a celebration. Some of you are here this evening to celebrate a son or daughter who has achieved great things academically here. Some of you might be here to celebrate a student, a son or daughter who has reached some pinnacle in their life. Now they're on the brink of adulthood. But let's be brutally honest here for a minute. Many of you are here this evening to celebrate a son or daughter who is now one step closer to leaving your house. Now, when the senior council asked me a few months ago to speak at commencements, my initial reaction was, wow, they've got to be pretty desperate. Seriously though, let's think about this critically for a moment. In terms of tradition alone, the commencement speaker's main purpose and goal has always been to bestow upon the graduating class some form of worldly or scholarly knowledge. And that's a pretty tall burden for anybody to handle. Well, I point this out for the next example that I'm going to give. Right around the same time that the senior class council approached me to speak at commencements, one of my senior English students was walking down the hall one day and had a very troubled and puzzled look on his face. So I asked the young man, what's your problem? What's happening? And he said, Mr. Kapolka, I've got a question and a problem that I hope maybe you can help me with. Okay. So, being the concerned individual that I was, and also because I'm an English teacher, we can tend to be a little over-analytical. We start to analyze things a little too much. So my mind immediately started racing over all the endless possibilities that this question could pertain to. So I thought maybe the first thing, maybe he wants to discuss the Greek poet and playwright Sophocles. Or maybe he wanted to talk about the Allied bombing of Dresden, Germany during World War II because it pertains to his author for his senior presentation. Or maybe, just maybe, he wanted to learn a little bit more about how to write a construct and nice, concise thesis statement. Well, those delusions were quickly thrown out the window the moment that I noticed that in his right hand, he was holding a Mountain Dew pop can. Okay, it was a little odd. So the next thing he said to me, he's like, Mr. Kapolka, my question is, and I was kind of wondering if you could show me how to crush this pop can on my head. Because, man, I've tried a couple times and my head's killing me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to bring you back to something that I said earlier. Desperate. I knew at that moment that if I didn't raise the collective expectation for this commencement exercise, we were going to be in a lot of trouble this evening. So, as a side note, I would like to point out, like any concerned public school teacher, I answered the young man's question to the best of my ability, and I believe that after several more self-inflicted wounds to his forehead, he was successful. Now, as you may have guessed by now, this will not be a typical commencement address. I made a promise to the seniors here, or some people might like to think of it as blackmail, but that's another story. But I made a deal with the senior class that I would not stand behind a lectern reading from a piece of paper, going on and on about things that I figured they would probably forget 5 minutes from now anyways. So instead, the best that I can do this evening is to bestow upon you some advice, some words of wisdom, and some experiences that I have shared, at least, in my time here at Fitzgerald, and I hope that you're able to take something away from this. Now, the first example I'm going to discuss tonight has to do with the not-so-popular topic of failure. You see, there was a young man born right around the turn of the 19th century who, for his 8th birthday, he didn't receive the typical gifts that most kids get. A bike, a train, toy train. Instead, he got a swift kick in the head by a horse. Now, young man dropped, he fell down. Many people believed that he was dead for a short period of time. But, like the trooper that he is, he got back up, he dusted himself off, and he was ready to fight another day. Well, unfortunately, in that same year, his mother passed away, very suddenly. So those are two pretty serious events that happened in his young life. So the young man grows up. He ends up going into business with another young man, and they start a general store, which is kind of like a hardware store. It has pretty much everything that you can think of in it. Well, that didn't go well either. The store ended up going belly up, and both gentlemen go greatly into debt. Now, 3 years after this, the person that he goes into business with suddenly dies. So, being the morally upstanding person that this person was, he decided to take on the debt of his former business partner, although he was under no legal obligation to do so. Oh, almost forgot. On a personal relationship note, he was dating and eventually gets engaged to a beautiful woman by the name of Anne, who suddenly dies. So, he gives it 2 years, he mourns her, and he figures now it's time to get back out and date again. So he meets another really wonderful and terrific young woman by the name of Mary, and they get engaged. Well, Mary got to thinking, things aren't working out very well, so she dumps him. Well, let's recap for a minute. At the age of 8, he gets kicked in the head. Mother dies the same year. He goes into business fails, business partner dies, goes even further into debt. Fiancé number 1 ends up dying, fiancé number 2 ends up kicking him to the curb. Now, I think if I stopped right here, you would probably all agree that this is a pretty good example of failure, but it gets better. 6 years after fiancé number 2 gives him the boot, he ends up trying his hand in politics. So he runs for, and as you might have guessed, gets defeated for the United States Congress. So his next course of action, he ends up running for a seat in the United States Senate, which, anybody want to take a guess what happens? Oh yes, he fails. So 1 year after this defeat, his name is thrown around his political party to be a potential vice presidential candidate. So they put it to a vote, and he came in dead last. So the next course of action, he decides to run for Congress again, and does really well in the election process, but he's defeated by a Democrat by the name of Stephen Douglas at this point. So after all the political failures in his life, he then decides at this point he's going to give it one more try. So he runs for and wins the nomination of his party for the presidency of the United States. And ironically enough, he ends up defeating Stephen Douglas, thus becoming the 16th president of the United States. Now, can anybody, hopefully the seniors can get this, can anybody tell me who this person was?
Abraham Lincoln.
Excellent, Abraham Lincoln. Now, I point this example out not to show you that you have to fail 300 times, or get dumped by a fiancé, or even get kicked in the head to be successful. But I point this out to show you that not everything in your lives is going to come easy. And it will not usually happen on the first try. Now, so many of you guys out there this evening have had failures, I guess, in your life. And, you know, unfortunately, sometimes you have to kind of forge ahead. And the most important thing that you can remember is that there are a few absolutes in your life, okay? You will eventually falter, you will eventually misstep, and you will run across people that at some point in your life want you to fail. But you also meet people who are very quick to pat you on the back and to give you the thumbs up and tell you, good luck, good job, excellent. And they'll wish you a lifetime of happiness and success. And I think that's great. I wish those things for myself, as well as my family, as well as for you. But I'm going to take it one step further. Not only do I wish those things for you, happiness and success, but I'd also like to wish you a lifetime of happiness, or excuse me, I'd like to wish you a lifetime of failure, heartbreak, and setback. Oh, you heard me correctly. I hope that at some point in your life, someone punches you in the arm for no good reason. I hope that you lose $5 out of your purse or wallet. I hope that when you get a paper cut, someone runs up and pours lemon juice all over it. I hope that when you're driving in traffic and someone cuts you off, they extend an arm out the window and tell you that you're number one. I hope that when you find someone that you really, truly, and deeply love, and you tell them that they look you directly in the eye and tell you, I love you too, but only as a friend. I hope maybe you overpay on your taxes. Heck, maybe even get made fun of occasionally. But as your parents can probably attest to, and I don't say these things because I'm necessarily a mean-spirited person, although some might beg to differ on that one. I say these things because, as I said, your parents and many of the members up here on stage already know, is that that's life. Life isn't just about the positives. It's also about the negatives. And it depends on how you deal with that. And so many of you seniors that are out here this evening have had to overcome some obstacle in your life to get to this point. And it's a tribute to who you are as individuals as well as how you've been raised. Now, there are few, as I said before, there are few certainties in this life, but one thing you can always guarantee and always count on is that at some point or another you will falter and you will misstep. And you'll even run across people who will wish failure upon you, and that's what they want to see. The most important thing that you can do is never give them the satisfaction of watching you fail. You must always, always, always pull yourself back up, stare them directly in the eye, and let them know because of who you are and where you came from that you will not quit, that you will not fail, and that you will never, ever stop trying. No matter where you go in your life, no matter what happens to you in the journey and the path that you take, never lose sight of who you are individually as well as that vision of where you want to go in your life. And I'm going to leave you with this little piece of advice, seniors. Remember that work and college are things that you truly will complete. But life is something to be experienced. So for tonight, as well as for the rest of your lives, go forth and experience it all. Thank you again for giving me this opportunity to speak to you this evening. It's been my honor to teach you for 4 years. Good luck, God bless. I love you guys.
Secretary Kelly Hermance and Treasurer Danielle Smith. The Senior Class Council and the officers of the senior class have provided their classmates with leadership and service. They have devoted hundreds and hundreds of hours and an enormous amount of energy in planning all senior activities. When I call your names, please stand and turn to face the audience to be recognized, and please hold your applause. First, the representatives of the senior class. Council are Marissa Espolita, Shane Koskowski, Kyle Rogers, and Danielle Smith. The class of 2005 officers are Historian Kelly Hermance, Treasurer Erica Pennebaker, Secretary Tiffany Chuning, Vice President Tom Slanda, and President Ricky Patel. Congratulations to those students. The National Honor Society here at Fitzgerald is a very prestigious organization which honors selected students for their outstanding combination of scholarship, leadership, service, and character. This year, they have distinguished themselves with community service projects, which included working with students from the early childhood building, which is next door, helping with the early childhood building ice cream social. They've cleaned up the Fitzgerald campus, and they have cooperated with the Skills USA food drive. They've also volunteered their work with the Salvation Army, St. John Oakland Hospital, March of Dimes Walkathon, and the local chapter of the Girl Scouts. They have also worked with the City of Warren's Adopt a Road and Adopt a Park programs. In total, this class of NHS members has volunteered over 1,000 hours of community service, which occurred outside of the normal school day. The senior members of the National Honor Society are wearing light blue stoles this evening. Each member wearing a stole has participated in the 1,000 hours of community service described. I ask all senior members of the NHS to please stand and be recognized. These NHS members are also specially designated in your commencement program as well. Now we're going to talk about the honor graduates. At Fitzgerald, a student is recognized as graduating with honor if he or she has maintained a B or 3.0 average or higher for all 4 years. In your program, the seniors graduating with honor are listed in 3 categories. The first category are the seniors with a 3.0 to a 3.49 grade point average. These are the seniors graduating with honors. There are 27 seniors in this category. I'm going to ask them for grade point average. They are graduating with high honor and received blue medals of recognition at our honors convocation earlier in May. When I announce your name, seniors, if you'll please stand to be recognized, we'll hold our applause. Nicole Williams. Paku Lor. Thomas Slanda. Tiffany Tuning. Danielle Smith, Joseph Buchanan Riley, Kelly Hermans, Nargis Khan, Erica Pennebaker, and Kyle Rogers. In the third and final category are the seniors with a 3.75 to a 4.0 grade point average. They are graduating with the highest honors. There are 11 seniors in this category. Their medals were also awarded to them at our honors convocation on May 25th. When I announce your name, seniors, please stand. Valerie Pop, Magdalena Wisniewski, Shane Koskowski, Michael Pavlik, Victoria Wilmy, Ricky Patel, Tabeen Dewan, Ashley Fulgenti, Jacqueline Burnett, Christy Davidson, and Shahidor Chaudhry. Congratulations. The class of 2005 has chosen to follow the tradition began with the class of 1952, leaving a gift to the school. They have selected to purchase 6 motivational banners that will display sayings and quotes, which have words of wisdom, Central Association, and the Fitzgerald Board of Education. I recommend that they be awarded their high school diplomas. It gives me great pleasure on behalf of the faculty and administration of Fitzgerald High School to present the class of 2005.
There's Michelle. Oh yeah, there she is, right there. Yep. Michelle.
Matthew Joseph Valente.
Stilson, Dean Baird.
Jermaine Antoine Hamill.
Shane Curtis Gilbert.
Ernest Lee Wilcox.
Joshua Allen Sanders.
Erica Lynn Pennebaker.
Joshua Stephen Alexandro.
Michael David Pavlak.
Tiffany Ann Chuning.
Thomas Jacob Slanda.
Kyle Kennedy Rogers.
Shane Ross Kuskowski.
Marissa Margaret Espelita.
Danielle Elise Smith.
Kelly Therese Hermans.
Ricky Patel.
Diana Eva Coles.
Yeah, I don't know.
Katrina Elizabeth Parks.
Sonia Nawaz.
Nicole Leslie Williams.
Ellen Marie Hayes.
Victoria Rose Wilme.
Shannon Marie Connors.
Samantha Ray Taylor.
Jessica Ann Smith.
Rebecca Jane Savine.
Rajman Begum.
Jessica Catherine Welch.
Nargis Khan.
Lindsay Marie Wilbur.
Henry Philip Hill.
Jennifer Ann Richmond.
Stephen Thomas Crawford.
Sabrina Michelle Sloan.
Jeffrey Donald Brewer.
Mark Anthony Stevens.
Andrew Philip Seeley.
Christopher Charles Root.
Catherine Stephanie Weiss.
Brandon Michael Messer.
Kirsten Nicole Hobson.
Larry Eugene Kohler Jr.
Nicole Elizabeth Schmidt.
Matthew Lee Myers.
Richard Thomas Kraus.
Daniel Adrian Thole.
Ashley Marie Fulgenti.
Brian Michael Wright.
Stephen Edward DeNoble.
Brian Michael Stanko.
Shahidul Rahman Chaudhry.
Tiffany Amber Sutton.
Tabeen Dewan.
Ashley Margaret Sommerfeld.
Crystal Lynn Griffith.
Pamela Patricia Peters.
Tisha Ann Lenski.
Pamela Louise Russ.
Stephanie Lynn Crabtree.
Valerie Ogden Pop.
Dinah Soleil Bazi.
Taryn J. Lim.
Jason Eric
Graduated with a
Jones.
4.05.
Christopher James Pusey.
Ryan Edward Kilburn.
Justin Lawrence Nielsen.
Deanna Marie Nemans.
Is that Ron's daughter?
Heather Marie Hoffert.
His niece.
Mickey Lee Dano.
He got divorced and they just...
Derek Francis O'Malley.
Matthew Robert Giles.
Leah Grace George.
Joseph Francis Buchanan Riley.
Kenneth Howard Osterlenke.
Elona Sophia Coles.
Mike, Tom, and Shane
Alicia
were all right
Gabrielle
next to each other,
Shepherd.
they went up.
Nancy
did that.
Yang.
Mike went up, Tom went up, and Shane went up. Right?
Mew
Oh, is that
Can Lee.
Thomas' friend? Yeah. TJ.
Leon Samir Cora.
Oh, he likes Thomas.
Bao Hu
Right?
Yang.
Thompson's like Boy Scouts.
Majd Thamer Hindu.
Maya Shawat Tao.
Ronald Douglas Bird.
G. Thang.
Alan Bernard Anderson.
Chor Thang.
Brendan Neil Blackburn.
Dang Lord.
Anthony Michael Butchko.
Jonathan Scott Samer.
Ramiz Umar.
Janetta Helen Nelson.
Caleb John Serenian.
Benjamin Stanley Bunkley.
Jennifer Lynn Hanks.
Danielle Shelvati Thompson.
Dusty Lorraine Barber.
Brandy K. Carver.
Michael Thomas Bieshki II.
Guy Lewis Swanson.
Paul Woodrow Duckworth.
James Aaron Kendrick.
Cleater Zeki Al-Hakim.
Edward Brian Hall.
Dwayne Allen Bidiger.
William Jose Candelario.
Elena Marie D'Amico.
Claire Renee Richards.
Nicole Antoinette Canarchio.
Tony's daughter. That's the oldest boy.
Justin Gregorio Salazar.
James Edwin Smith.
Justine Lee Bullock.
Dawn Marie Bradford.
Anis Majdanek.
Jeffrey Timothy Chanowski Jr.
Ashley Nicole McKenzie.
Jacqueline Marie Burnett.
Precious Chate Turner.
Precious.
Michael Allen Smeckert.
Michael Carl Demersion.
Stephanie Marie Long.
Matthew Gerald Pelt.
Hannah Enwea.
Amy Christina Delavan.
Laura Lee Bonacorsi.
Tia Maria Velazquez.
Brandy Ann Ferrante.
Christy Ann Davidson.
Francis Edmund Yenjavsky.
Amanda Rose Martinez.
Carrie Wesley Mueller.
Alicia Yvonne Harris.
John Niels Kapenga.
Andrea Ann Williamson.
Girls are all wearing the same shade.
Ramon Deshawn
Like 5 or
Horn.
6 of them in a row. Had this, it was like the same shade.
Candace Marie Porritt.
Jacqueline Rose Schwanek.
Jonathan Alonzo Tresvant.
D'Angelo Dennis Kenny.
Nicole Elizabeth Lupinski.
Alicia Jovan Smith.
Matthew Allen Ford.
But you know, you can't wash it or you can't dry clean it.
Emmanuel Lee
I
Ellis.
think you can. I think the color will go out of it though.
Yeah, it says
Derek
do
Lee
not wash,
Harris.
dry clean.
Sophia Anna Rena McCollum.
Colin Michael Lacura.
Glenn Ivan Covington II.
Kyle Robert Kinsman.
Crystal Maria Knight.
Shelley Yang.
Jehiah Samuel Ray.
That one is. It was like a whole day.
Pa Kulor.
And these diplomas aren't really in there, are they? I remember they held on.
Selena
They held our
Michelle
diplomas until we
Duncan
took our
Wheeler.
Catholic job. Thought you never got your diploma then.
No, we got ours.
Betty
That's not how
Ellen
they did
Holcomb.
ours.
You're supposed to check your cap and gown in the cafeteria when you were done. But everyone just
Jennifer
went through
Holly
that table
Clark.
and they said, there's a hole down there. I don't know whose this is. So I said, well, hell, if they ain't taking it.
Anthony
mine was stuck
Eugene
down here.
Randolph.
I sure took it home.
Tierra Denita
They gave us
Williams.
our diplomas until we turned them in or something like that. That's what it was. You had to go get your
Daniel
turn your cap and
Scott
gown and then they gave you
Gray.
your diploma. We can't understand you tunes like this.
The star, Christina
Bring
Cooks.
us an empty book.
Vu
No shoes,
Vang.
man. Wow. Better hang on to the
Florida,
rail.
Pan Marcos.
There you go.
Pa Lord.
David Elton Jones.
Magdalena Kazimiera Wisniewski.
Ooh, good job.
Thomas Gregory Robinson III.
Candace Marie Lee.
Those are the ones you just said.
Michael Charles Medvick.
Because you can't pronounce the name.
Adam Daniel Manzo.
To conduct the collective changing of the cap tassel to officially proclaim the class of 2005 graduates. Please stand, graduates. Okay, members of the board, I now formally present to you the graduates of 2005. Graduates, you'll take your tassel and move it to the right side of your hat. Slideshow that Senior Shane Piskowski, representing the Senior Class Council, has prepared for your final look at senior memories. Enjoy.
Here did. Where did you find them? No, somebody over here found. Betty, did you guys find some glasses?
We found glasses.
Yeah, they turned them in. Bobby doesn't have himself in here. guy wants to become an actor. There he is. Up there he is right there.
Look at some dogs. Look at dogs.
Hey, that was my girl. The girl's about 4 years old. Uh-oh, that was Lion Night. I remember that.
Porn shop.
Buckeye. There you go, Tyler. Easy, big stuff. Busted. Now we know we did it. Oh boy. What's that?
Same as them big shaving cream right there.
Yeah. Well, that's when they toilet paper the school.
Nice job, Shane. I'd like to call Kelly Hermans to the stage, our senior drum major, who will lead our graduates in the traditional singing of the Fitzgerald High School alma mater. Graduates, please stand. This school year comes to a close with the graduation of the class of 2005. This class represents those values and ideals that have been consistent with the philosophy of Fitzgerald throughout the years. Fitzgerald has always been unique because of its family feeling. Like a child leaving home, graduation represents your passage into adulthood. You may leave Fitzgerald, but you will always be a member of the family. And speaking of family, your parents and all of the parents and family members here tonight, you too are to be commended for your guidance, hard work, and support of these fine young people that sit before you tonight. Their success is a compliment to you. Graduates, thank your parents, please. We, the faculty and administration, want to again commend you, class of 2005, and want you to know we feel great pride in your accomplishments achieved. You will always be particularly special to me, since I have known the majority of you throughout your elementary, middle, and high school years. Once again, I am thrilled and honored to present and officially recognize our Fitzgerald High School graduates, the class of 2005.